Thank you, Elaine. Good morning. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church of Long Beach. I'm delighted to welcome you to our service. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Greetings to those of you who are new and or visiting our church this morning. We're so glad you're here. Welcome also to those who are on YouTube and Zoom. Now let's take a moment to greet one another respectfully and warmly. If we could start taking our seats. Yeah. Oh. If we could start taking our seats and we can continue on the patio after the service. After the service, if you are watching us online, please join our Zoom coffee hour where you can chat with others in the congregation. For those of you on site, please join us for coffee hour outside in the patio where you can continue your conversations. All are welcome to explore our organic community garden and beautiful campus. And now for a few announcements. And I'm going to start first, and Lorraine second, and Patricia. The auction boutique and plant sale will be on 2 Sundays, November 17th and 24th, and they're one of our fundraisers. But now for the month of October, we're accepting donations of nearly new or barely used household treasures, toys and games, jewelry, accessories, or sports equipment for the auction boutique. And then for the plant sale, you can donate like empty pots or rhizomes or spring bulbs or gardening supplies or pots. So you can bring those this month. And if you'd like to propagate some plants for the sale, there is still some time. And we'll accept the plant donations on November 17th before the service. Thanks. Lorraine?
No, I didn't wait till I have something to say. All together with the postcards, the letters, the envelopes we addressed and all that stuff, we have done 5,000 things. Like, whoa. And I know you don't want to leave anything behind. So on the patio, there are a few letters left, one packet of Texas postcards, and the Moms Rising cards finally finished arriving this week. And they are very nice. It's to a mom who is not a consistent voter yet. And they just give you a tiny place for your message. It'll be easy, but they want them in a day or two from now. And they are postage paid. Also, the postage is out there for any of the other things if you take them. I don't want them back. But we should probably finish it up. Many hands make light work. Thank you guys very much.
Hi, good morning. I'm Patricia Chen, and I want to talk to you about the special collection, social justice collection for today. As you know, on the second day of the month, our congregation holds a collection for a local organization or group that supports our Unitarian Universalist social justice values and is worthy of your financial support. This month's special collection recipient is the Friends of Pavona. Pavona is the Tongva village and associated area where Cal State Long Beach and UCLB now stand. It is a special place which is sacred to the Tongva and the Ahachiman. Friends of Pavona works to preserve Pavona for future generations by educating, holding ceremony, and healing and building the Pavona community, and seeking additional protections for Pavona. To learn more about the organization, we have a short video made by Rebecca Robles, who's the president of the Friends of Pavona.
Site for Ahachiman people, Gabrielino Tongva people, and other tribes. This is a place where two of our deities came to us. It's our creation site or our immersion site. It was actually a 500-acre village. This site's on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's also listed on the Native American Heritage Commission Sacred Lands file. For Ahachiman people, for Indian people, these sites are very important to us because they hold our connection with these important parts of our religion, culture, and ceremony. Through the years, we've worked to preserve this site. In 1993, there was a religious freedom lawsuit that the Unitarian Church supported us in. As we celebrate today, we remind people that Native American people are still here. These important sites, our important connection to the land is very crucial for our continuation as Indigenous people and as people in general. Our goal is to restore the site, to work with the university, restore the site as it's transferred to a conservation easement and to a land trust. We continue to do ceremony here. We hold this site sacred. We look for your support. We want to know we want you to know what we're doing here. Follow us on. We have an Instagram, Protect Pavona, and then we have a website, www.friendsofpavona.org. This is very important. Right in your backyard, it's a justice issue that's going on. It's a religious freedom issue. When we pray, we say all my relations at the end of our prayer. And so we remember that we're all connected as community and people. Thank you as you celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day.
Our children and youth programming continues today outside on the playground behind the Chalice buildings. Please remember to check in your child each Sunday using the QR code and pick up your children promptly after the service has concluded. Room 2-3 is open for infants and toddlers this morning, and children and youth are always welcome to join us in worship as well. Next Sunday, we will install Amy Pabon as our new Director of Religious Education. Amy, we're so glad you're here. I'd now like to welcome Amy to offer an announcement about October and the upcoming trunk or treat. I don't see her. Okay. Pardon? Okay. We'll probably hear from her later then. Oh, okay. Yeah. Check the back of your order of service. There's the thing about trunk or treat and the spaghetti dinner. Okay. On this Indigenous Peoples Weekend, as we conclude Latinx Heritage Month, we are grateful to be joined by our pulpit guest today, Dr. Norma Salcido, right here, to speak with us about her work to support undocumented students in our communities. Our congregation has long been a part of immigrant justice work in the Long Beach community. At this tense moment in our election cycle, issues of immigration continue to be at the forefront of national politics. We know that dehumanizing rhetoric about immigrants and refugees causes real harm. And through our work with our community partners, we are grateful to be a part of creating compassionate solutions. Dr. Norma Salcido's passion for supporting undocumented students stems from being the eldest daughter in a mixed status home. She was the first in her family to graduate high school and pursue higher education. Dr. Norma's expertise in fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for undocumented students has transcended geographical boundaries as she has worked at various institutions across the U.S. As the director of the Dream Success Center, DSC, at California State Long Beach, Dr. Norma provides leadership, direction, and oversight of the services offered at DSC. Her passion for promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion has led to the development of innovative programs at CSULB that empower students from diverse backgrounds to thrive academically and personally, regardless of immigration status. As someone who grew up in Long Beach, it brings Dr. Norma joy to be able to do this important work in the city that has helped shape her into the leader she is today. Welcome, Norma. I now welcome Bill Sive to share our land acknowledgement.
Good morning, everybody. On this Indigenous Peoples Day weekend, we acknowledge our church buildings rest upon Tavangar, the traditional territory of the Tavanga, the original people of this land whose descendants continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. Our campus lies at Pavunga, an ancient village site held sacred at both by the Tavanga and the Achiman. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We strive to grow in our responsibility as guests upon these sacred lands, acknowledging both relationships and reciprocity to the lands and native people of Tavangar, together with religious communities and movement partners. We begin our journey of ecological and racial healing. As a faith-based guest on Tavanga land, today we are making Kuinawa, a guest exchange from our partners. We are learning many ways that we can be involved in the guest exchange efforts to deepen our relationships and commitments. You can visit Friends of Tavanga or join an event at Pavunga. Study the work of Friends of Pavunga at the Tavanga, Tarahaksa Pava Conservancy. Consider small and large ways of offering land-back reparations to the Tavanga community on a small scale. Consider rematriating your personal or institutional property with native plants, trees, and grasses on a large scale. Consider offering gift of personal or institutional land, gifted fully and autonomously to the Tavanga community. Waive or reduce fees for campus events or other spaces rentals, for ceremonies, gatherings, and events. Consider making guest exchange as a standing part of our church annual budget. Encourage our friends and community to make guest exchange. Commit to land acknowledgement before your committee meetings and church events. Educate yourselves about local indigenous history, land struggle, and community efforts. Challenge false narratives about California history in schools, the media, public monuments, missions, and the like. Divest financially from fossil fuels and other extractive industries. Decarbonize our campus and help others in the community to do the same. Ensure that you do not perpetuate cultural appropriation of Native indigenous culture. Support Native artists, activists, and community leaders. Advocate for and support campaigns, bills, propositions, and public policy that strengthen Native rights and sovereignty. Re-educate ourselves in the role of Christianity in the colonization and genocide. Join our Native Justice Group that meets monthly on Zoom.
Let us pause to reflect and contemplate the many ways we can humbly seek to be better guests on this land we cherish. We light this chalice to continue to illuminate our path of accountability, repair, and healing.
Good morning. For our opening hymn this morning, we are going to be singing hymn 1023 out of our teal hymnal and Building Bridges. And I'm going to allow for, I'm going to allow for Edie and Alicia to get in position. We are going to sing this in a round. So I'm going to ask that when we sing this, that you all are rising in spirit only, so that everyone can see Edie and everyone can see Alicia as they lead our section. So when we get to the round, we're going to sing this together 2 times through, collectively and in unison, okay? On the 3rd time through, you guys, group 1, right here. Look at Alicia. I'm going to put my finger up. It's group 1. If you're online, choose a number between 1 and 3. And when my finger goes up, you start singing with us, okay? So group 1. And then I'll put up for group 2. You're going to follow me. I'm with you guys, okay? And including you in the back. Well, you guys are kind of with Alicia. And then group 3 with Edie over here and Patricia over here as well, okay, for group 3. Everybody got it?
We did that last part twice.
And thank you. That was the last bit. I was like, my brain stopped for a moment. And so when you get to your last line, we're going to sing it in round. You're going to sing it 2 times through with your section. And when you get to the last line, keep singing it, just that last line, until we're all singing it together on the 3rd time. It's going to be beautiful. You guys ready?
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we can make such sweet
Will you join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer? I begin our meditation by sharing a poem from Joy Harjo, a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation and 3-time Poet Laureate of the United States. Remember the earth whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth, we are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Will you remember? And now, source of love, ground of our being, great spirit and creator of all life, whose many names and faces and energies throughout time have animated the human heart, we come together as a community on this land made sacred for generations, guests who humbly seek healing with the land and the people of the land. Beginning right here in our congregation, we hold each person in tender care today. May you feel the love and support of this community surrounding you. With reverence for the great web of life, we acknowledge our place in it. We commit to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. So we hold in care all of the land, ecosystems, all species throughout the natural world. We open our hearts to be companions, caring for a hurting world and committing to create a world of flourishing. As Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina have been devastated by hurricanes Helene and Milton, we hold in care all of the frontline workers and communities who are impacted first, worst, and longest by climate change and who face systemic oppression. May we recommit to communities of mutual support, which are the building blocks of the ecosystem of mutual survival. In a time of growing regional war in the Middle East, we offer our sincere and heartfelt prayers for peace. May we seek to soften our hearts and bring gentleness, compassion, and comfort to all those who grieve and live in fear. May all beings be safe and supported, comforted, encouraged by a love that liberates and heals. Let us now enter the silence, followed by the brief spoken joys and sorrows of this beloved community. In this congregation, we witness to one another's lives in our times of joy and celebration, as well as times of grief, transition, and suffering. We now invite you to come to the chancel to briefly share a joy with the congregation or to write it in the chat line. Please be mindful of our need to balance sharing with the respect for other elements of our service. If you share frequently, please consider allowing a new voice to be heard. Our mic and online chat will be open briefly to share the joys and sorrows we wish to hold in caring embrace. Let us widen our circle of care and hold one another in compassion and love. If you'd like to come up. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Fred Kushner, and I have the privilege of celebrating an important anniversary for myself. In 1964, when I was 18 years old, in October, I went to Mississippi to be a civil rights worker. I was the youngest white civil rights worker in Mississippi at that time. I spent a year in Mississippi fighting racism, canvassing. It transformed me. The Mississippi Delta is in my blood. It always will be. And later today, I will canvass for Measure A. And the two things that I've done in canvassing in my many years has been in Mississippi, and when we won RW, I'm so proud and happy to share this with you. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Anyone outside? Joys and sorrows? No? Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Kessler, and I'm just thankful to be here today. 3 weeks ago, I had a pulmonary embolism. Spent a day in the ICU, a couple of days in the hospital recovering, and now 3 weeks after, I am not quite back to my full speed, but did kettlebell and wasn't out of breath like I was expecting. So, it's all good.
Hi, my name is Chris Kemp, and I have both a joy and a sorrow to share today. The joy today is that for those of you that remember Eduarda Diaz-Schwartzbach, it's her birthday today. So I do happen to have a card that there's limited room on it to sign, but if you see me after the service today, I'd be happy to lend that to you. Also, we had a sorrow in relation to Sue Newforth, those of you that know her as well. So she was found to have a brain tumor, and it was taken out Monday. And she's recovering as well as one might expect after this surgery. It's a severe surgery. For those that would like to visit sometime, maybe you might want to wait until she's in rehab. But she is open to visitors that are very close to her at this point, at any time at Long Beach Memorial. Or calls she finds very challenging at this point. If you do visit her at some point, be very sensitive to how quickly she tires. So it is a part of her recovery. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Eric So. I have a personal sorrow to share, which is that I missed this church for 2.5 weeks since A, my choir has not been rehearsing Wednesday nights, and B, I got 2 Sundays off. I got 2 Sundays off. But I have a personal joy to share, which is yesterday, I made my first shopping trip at the new Sprouts Market on PCH and Eximino, right where Staples used to be.
Thank you. I'm Jonelle Connolly. Last Sunday, I celebrated 9 years sober.
Okay. So we lift these joys up. We lift up these joys of our lives, small and large, the anniversaries, new jobs or homes, birthdays, and special occasions. We celebrate these joys with you, and we mourn the grief, loss, and hardship within our own UUCLB community, the greater Long Beach community, and our larger world. With these words, we conclude our shared joys and sorrows. Our Sunday offering helps to sustain our congregation alongside the generous pledges and contributions of our members and friends. And as Patricia mentioned, our social justice collection the recipient is the Friends of Pavugna. So every month, a social justice collection is taken to support an organization living our values in the world. Will the ushers please come forward? If you're writing a check, please make the check payable to UUCLB and write Social Justice Collection in the memo area. All cash collected today will be donated to the Friends of Pavugna. Other ways to donate are detailed in your order of service. Thank you.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. Sound of voices too, the sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. Sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. The sound of all of us, singing with love and a will to trust. Leave the rest behind, you'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. The sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Thank you again for your generous support, financial support of UUCLB, and all you do to help our church thrive. And now let's welcome our speaker, Dr. Norma Salcedo.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As you all heard, my name is Dr. Norma Salcedo, and I am the director of the Dream Success Center at California State University, Long Beach. And I am thankful to be here talking to you about supporting the undocumented community amidst uncertainty. I love to see this voting environment. So, and this, yay, go vote if you can. So we'll talk about that today. And before we get started, I think it's important to discuss terminology. As you have heard in many media, maybe newspapers or magazines or different things, the term illegal, right? Like you need to send this community back to their home country with very derogatory terminology that is used. And as we talk about the land of Pavangna, we cannot be illegal on stolen land, right? Right? So, speaking, no human can technically be illegal. It's a derogatory term to be used to dehumanize the immigrant experience. So when we talk about undocumented communities, we're talking about individuals who came to the United States in different ways. There's an assumption that all immigrants come from the southern part of the border, but they're coming from all over the world. They may have overstayed their visa. We have tons of international students who overstay their visa, or individuals who come with a work visa and they no longer have it. So it's important to know that it's not a Latino issue. It's a world issue that is happening, and also to understand why is it that these individuals are migrating. There's a lot that the U.S. puts in play in these other countries that makes these communities have no other choice than to pack up their children and their belongings and go to a country that they don't know, because it's safer for them to go through this tumultuous trip to the U.S. and stay in their home country because of the militarization that has taken place in their country. So to look at the I have some charts here that kind of show the immigrant experience. We have immigrants coming from all over the world here in the U.S. They are stationed in all over the U.S. as well. Obviously, we're a very large state, so a lot of immigrants are here in California. We estimate we have about 2 million undocumented immigrants in the state of California. And then the other larger communities being in Texas, in Florida, in other but other states as well. And it's really unfortunate because the states that are being supported in different ways by undocumented immigrants are usually the most anti-immigrant. So it's really saddening to hear, because these communities are right now being impacted by hurricanes, by fires, by different climate issues that are happening. So, and they're still contributing to the society in different ways. So how do individuals become undocumented? A lot of undocumented immigrants get asked this question, or there's an assumption that they just decide to be undocumented. But this country has made the immigration system so hard to navigate. Some of you here may have navigated yourselves or know someone who navigated the immigration system. There's no line that these individuals can get into. So what happens is that they either came to the United States without authorization, they overstayed their visa like I mentioned, or they lost their status for various reasons, which could happen. So someone who may have a permanent residency right now could potentially lose it tomorrow, depending on the situation that they're in. So why won't they just get in line? The QR code, for those who have phones that can scan the QR code, it'll take you to a full document that talks about why these individuals cannot just get in line. The system does not have, as of right now, there's no process for someone to say, hey, I want to get in this line to become a U.S. citizen. If there were, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. They would be the first ones there to get in that magical line. And there's an assumption like, oh, just go get married. Right now, there's no opportunity for everyone that gets married to get a citizenship. And there was something recently announced, which was called Keeping Families Together by President Biden. And as soon as it got released, it went into litigation. States went against it, and now it's on pause. And this Keeping Families Together law would have allowed those families that are already married and want to pursue a U.S. citizenship for their partner that's undocumented. Right now, they're not able to do so. So there are families right now that are on the verge of being separated because one spouse is a U.S. citizen and one spouse is not, and there's no pathway for them to assist their spouse in becoming documented. And this policy would have allowed over 1 million families to have that opportunity to stay here in the country. So we see, we see a lot of newspapers in articles talking about immigrants in various ways, right? We had most recently a huge misconception about immigrant Haitians, that they were eating cats in a certain state in the United States, and it was all fear-mongering, right? And saying immigrants are doing this, immigrants are doing that, immigrants are hurting the economy, they're using public services, and that is all incorrect. A lot of these undocumented communities, they don't qualify for a lot of these social services, yet they're still paying taxes towards contributing to these social services. They're contributing to taxes in their local communities, in their state communities, and also federal in different ways. And this is an example of what's happening to a family. This particular family said, my wife and I, just like every other married couple, you know, we want to be able to live knowing the life we're building won't be taken away. Keeping families together would make that dream a reality. So when we're talking about supporting families and making sure they stay together, it's unfortunately that right now there's some beliefs of whose family could stay together and who's not. And in a world of being socially justice, it's important to know that there's certain privileges that we may have that unfortunately our undocumented communities do not. And one of the most important things for me as a human being is to ensure that we keep our families together and bonded. And unfortunately, that policy that could have helped these mixed status families is currently in pause or paused. So in the midst of it all, we see these communities thriving in so many different ways. There's this theme that's around social media called UndocuJoy, where undocumented immigrants are sharing that regardless of what's going on in the community, there is this joy that they have inside. And this particular individual shared, we are strong, we are beautiful, we are undocumented. And that is something that I, as an educator supporting undocumented immigrants, try to live by every day, because there's just so much going on in society that can kill someone's spirit. And I'm not even just saying just in regarding undocumented status. I feel like so many identities every day are being targeted, whether it is being a woman, my reproductive rights, even librarians, you know, going to the libraries now, depending on what state you're on, you can't even get certain books. Like the most littlest thing is being attacked right now nationally, and it's really disheartening. So it's important that in the midst of it all, that we remember that there's some joy in all of it that we can rely on. And there's a beautiful poem that I found from a CSU alumni. His name is Yosimar Reyes. He's a poet well known in the United States, and he wrote a poem titled "A Poem So That the Weight of This Country Does Not Crush You." Some days you may wake up sad. Some days you may wake up frustrated. Some days you may wake up tired. Some days you may wonder if it's worth it. Some days you may question your own growth. Some days you may think on how immense the world is, to be caged in this country, to be subjugated to all this abuse. Some days you just want to breathe. And baby, I am here to remind you to sit in those moments, to sit in that whirlpool. But just know that there are people like me picking up the load when you can't. There are people like me pushing so the weight of this country does not crush you. That there are people like you who will fight when I can't. We will take turns pushing against these walls. I got your back and you got mine. And in the scheme of things, does anything else matter? Even if our fight is unfruitful, we will depart. With our dignity intact, we will depart knowing that this country is losing a prized possession. This country is losing the gift of our resilience. We will watch them as they tear into each other's skins and thank the heavens we will never turn beast like them. Powerful, right? So now what can we do to support this community? I ask that you stay educated on these issues. There's so much misinformation going out there. You may have family members who may not understand what's the reality of these communities. It's important to follow organizations that are doing advocacy efforts to support this community. Just this week, there was a court hearing, an oral hearing for deferred action for childhood arrivals, which many of my students benefit from. This is called DACA. It gives my students 2-year work permit and Social Security to be able to contribute to this country. And yet, again, it's been in litigation since 2016, and any decision is going to come at any point about the future of DACA. If it gets removed, many students, many communities, many families are going to be impacted by this because they're going to be losing their jobs, their homes, their livelihoods. So please stay informed on what's going on. The organizations listed above are doing work on the scene supporting Immigrants Rising, Forward.us, Justice Action Center, Orale here in Long Beach, and obviously us, the Dream Success Center at Cal State Long Beach. I know you're doing a lot of advocacy around voting. Continue doing that. It's important to continue to find ways to directly support the community. I thank you all for always contributing to the Dream Success Center every year. That makes a huge difference in our work. And like you all have been saying, please vote if you have the privilege. Not every individual has the privilege to vote. We have so many communities that are impacted in this that are being debated in this election, yet they're not able to vote. So please vote for those communities who can't, if you have the privilege. I thank you for your time. Follow me on LinkedIn. Here's my contact information. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. We are going to sing Love Will Guide Us. This is in our gray hymnal, hymn number 131. Please rise in body and or in spirit. And we will sing all 3 verses, okay?
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will
Our Sunday services are created through collaboration and teamwork of our staff and volunteers, and through the presence and participation of our members and friends. Thank you to Norma, Javon, Wilder Spirits, Danilo, Don, and Paul for making today's service so meaningful. We hope you will stay to enjoy coffee and refreshments with us and see you next week. Until then, we offer this final reflection attributed to Chief Seattle. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. This we know. All things are connected like the blood which unites one family. All things are connected. Now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you, Phoeben. So before I play our final song, the postlude, so I just wanted, well, first of all, the prelude, because folks were asking, it's Blumenlied by Gustav Lange. So it's October, so it's German. And the song I'm about to play is called Dahil Sa'yo, Because of You. This song was written in 1938 by Mike Velarde. So this is originally in Tagalog. It's called a kundiman. So it's kind of like for serenading, like a harana, right? But the story behind that is that a lot of these songs were songs of resistance, especially during Spanish colonial rule, continued U.S. occupation, as well as Japanese occupation. And this song is very popular, karaoke popular, because we love our karaoke, Filipinos. Among Filipino immigrants, specifically Filipino-American immigrant communities, we have many ways of how we got here. I became a citizen because my dad was in the military. That's like the lottery, right? And even when my dad got his citizenship in 1977, my mom didn't get her citizenship until like 97, so it's 20 years. So certainly there is no line, just total lie. But anyway, so here's my final offering. So thank you, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you.